Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Read from the Caitanya-caritamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 9, text number 50. Keya Gadagadi Jaja, Keya Tahumkar, Dekki Anandita Haya, Hashemanakar. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great gardener, sees that people are chanting, dancing and laughing, and that some of them are rolling on the floor and are making loud humming sounds, he smiles with great pleasure. Purport. This attitude of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very important for persons engaged in the Hare Krishna movement of Krishna consciousness. In every center of our institution, ISKCON, we have arranged for a love feast every Sunday. And when we actually see people come to our center, chant, dance, take prasadam, become jubilant and purchase books, we know that certainly Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always present in such transcendental activities, and he is very pleased and satisfied. Therefore, the members of ISKCON must increase this movement more and more, according to the principles that we are presently trying to execute. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thus being pleased, while smiling, glance upon them, bestowing his favor, and the movement will be successful. So as I read all that, it may have sounded like a stream of words, and because that's usually how it is when someone reads and sort of puts our mind on semi-inactive. It kind of goes in there. So we might have missed that when Prabhupada said that in every temple he has instituted a transcendental love feast on Sunday, and there's chanting, dancing and prasadam and so on. And it said, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always present in such transcendental activities, and he's very pleased and satisfied. So we can see that the guest is, the unexpected guest is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's actually present in these activities. But not only that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago and sort of historically started this movement, not only that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is kind of non-different from Krishna and therefore the objective of this movement, but he's present actually, he's there, very much present. And that is, and Prabhupada is explaining how he's attracted by kirtan, by chanting, dancing, prasadam. All these activities attract the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is quite significant because obviously when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present, then suddenly we change in it somehow, right? Then somehow we feel different because feelings, some people say, they just appear somehow. They cannot find any external cause of why it's all happening. It's just happening. But surely when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present, our whole experience of feeling is changed immediately, just like that. Therefore, it is important that we keep that in mind, that hearing and chanting is not only about us appreciating it, it is not only about that we take inspiration from it, it's not only that we know it's the holy name and there's a lot of mercy in it and all these things. No, it actually attracts Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal presence of chanting, dancing and prasadam. It doesn't only attract us, but also attracts Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is a very famous verse, famous purport, and it's actually significant. It's basically what we're doing. We're just simply trying to attract the Lord. Krishna, as we all know, means all attractive. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he gives another explanation of the word Krishna. He said, the word Krishna doesn't only mean all attractive, but the word Krishna can also be explained as he who is attracted by devotional service. And that other definition is really important. That Krishna can be attracted by devotional service is exactly what is described here. Our Srila Prabhupada is saying that by wherever the chanting, wherever there is prasadam, wherever there is dancing, in all these activities, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will certainly be present. And we see descriptions. Kunti Devi, she is describing what happened to the planet when Krishna was present. She's explaining that during the rule of Maharaj Yudhisthira, that Krishna was present, and that everything became suddenly auspicious. The forests were producing many herbs, there were jewels, the rivers were flowing abundantly, the land was fertile, the produce was ample, people had opulent cloth, nature was providing so opulently, and actually they had all the good of nature. Nature became very favorable. And Kunti Devi then says, and all this happened because you were glancing, you means Krishna, you were glancing over the land. So when Krishna is present, and when Krishna actually glances over this world, then everything becomes very, very pleasant and very favorable. Therefore, this Sankirtan movement attracts Krishna. And when we chant, we attract Krishna. So many times we think about, what's the chanting doing for me? What is it doing to me? How will my consciousness change? And it's not happening. I'm chanting, and it's not happening. My consciousness hasn't changed a bit. After all these years, still the same. Still the same. And I'm trying and I'm chanting, but my consciousness is not changing. What am I doing wrong? Why is it not working? It must be that I'm making offenses. Am I making offenses? Oh, I'm so offensive. I am offense personified. I am making so offense. Please, Prabhu, forgive me my offenses. Yeah, these people, they sneeze and they come and ask, please forgive me for my offenses. They walk around just always asking, forgive me, for what? What have you done this time? And then they come and ask again for forgiveness for offenses. And that's not an offense, That's, so many things are, it's not that we're living in a world in fear of offenses. Do you know, around every corner, offense senses are lurking, ready to strike. Watch out, any moment, and it pounces upon you until again, oh God, it happened, and you'll suffer, and your taste will be taken away, and you'll chant, and no result, all the result of your offenses. No. But Lord Chaitanya doesn't consider offenses. Alright, so that's already a relief then, eh? You don't have to worry about them because Lord Chaitanya doesn't consider them. He overlooks them. Great. So all you have to do is chant Hare Krishna and attract Lord Chaitanya. And Rama says he'll surely be attracted by this chanting, dancing and prasad. Well, that we can do. Can we? It sounds doable. So in this way, this movement suddenly becomes something within reach, something possible. Whereas if we meditate that I have to come to the state of offenseless, or you can't even say it, come to the state of offenseless chanting, then that is very difficult. Because from the day I became involved in Krishna consciousness, people told me that I'm offensive. They said, like, when I tried to enter the kitchen in my regular dress, they said that was offensive. When I opened my mouth, it was offensive. When I slept, even that was offensive. Everything I did was offensive. What you're doing? I'm offensive. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I exist. And, I don't know what to do about it because I'm eternal. So in this way, I'm stuck. Right? What to do now? But that's okay. But you have to come to the clearing stage of chanting. Okay, I'm clearing and clearing forever, and it's not clearing up. So how about that? But then when we read something in the Caitanya-caritamrita, and we see there are different dynamics, the dynamic of attracting Krishna. So yes, let us think about that the all-attractive can be attracted. It is said in the Krishna book that Krishna is known as Achyuta, and he is Achyuta, which means infallible. Right? So one explanation is that Krishna is perfect, he's infallible. Alright, but it has another meaning also, and that meaning is found in the Krishna book. And that meaning is, Krishna is infallible because he never fails to notice the smallest service anybody renders. So again, Krishna becomes attracted to our service. And that is our approach. Our approach is not mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the purest of all? And then, it's Cinderella. And the old queen's mirror cracks again. And I guess we're not Cinderella. We're probably the queen, right? I mean, who is Cinderella? Who is the perfect devotee? Who is that? Most of us are just like that queen when we look in the mirror. Not really perfect. If we look in the mirror of pure devotional service, I'm afraid we look like a caricature. Now what to do about that? And then you can start worrying about it. How will I become pure? How can I chant pure? How can I eat pure? How can I walk pure, sit pure, speak pure, everything pure? Just chant. Just simply chant. Just simply engage in hearing, chanting, dancing, and the Lord becomes attracted. Doesn't that change this whole movement? Doesn't that change our whole meditation? That the primary objective in this movement is to attract the Supreme Lord. And then, then we try to be pure devotees. We try to be inoffensive. We try to do everything as good as we can, but it doesn't always work. But it's not that then Krishna is not attracted. First of all, of course, I can make a case on the other side. Let's look for a moment at, here's little Narada, 5-year-old boy, is living with his mother. The Bhakti Vedantas, great sages, come during the rainy season, stay in their house, and Narada daily serves them and takes their remnants with their permission and all these things. They give him nice instructions also. And then one day, early in the morning, his mother goes out of the house to milk a cow. Unfortunately, she gets bitten by a snake, and she unexpectedly leaves this world. 5-year-old boy, all alone, but with the good instructions of the Bhakti Vedantas. So he went into the forest, he sits down, he meditates as they instructed, and in due course of time, as he's meditating, he sees the Lord in front of him. Not just, I need mirrors. Not just in his mind's eye, but he sees the Lord actually in front of him, direct darshan of the Lord, sakshat darshan. So that is an amazing moment. And then just as his ecstasy is overwhelming and he's drinking in this darshan with all his senses, then suddenly the Lord disappears. And because he's a kid, only 5 years old, his emotions are sort of very spontaneous and just kind of... so when the Lord disappears, then suddenly he becomes overwhelmed by anger. He gets very angry. That is of course a whole thing. Here's Narada, he's angry and the Lord has gone. And because the Lord is kind and merciful, he comes back. And then the Lord says, yes, I've come back, but only to tell you that you will not see me anymore this lifetime. And then that's it. Then he doesn't see him anymore for that lifetime. So it does seem that the Lord is hiding from us, that the Lord is not so easily available, that he is just holding back and saying, no, you have to do a bit more. You have to become a bit more pure. You have to do a bit more sacrifice. Otherwise you don't see me. That is there. But of course, that particular story about Narada Muni is true, but it is missing one element. And that is the element of Lord Chaitanya, of his extended mercy. And that extended mercy of Lord Chaitanya, that is a little different. That should be understood. And we should very much appreciate that that's why here in the hills of whatever it was called once upon a time, before it was called the Govardhan, that suddenly this spiritual place manifested. I don't know what this was in the past, this area, but...
Or London.
What was it?
Or London.
Okay, and what were they doing here?
Having a war in the valley there. This was a fighting ground there.
They would
sort out their differences.
They sort out their difference here. It was a sacred war ground.
Like a Kurukshetra.
Okay. Nice.
You asked.
No, yeah, interesting.
There's also the women, I think, something for the native women.
Women initiation rites or something?
Yeah.
Also here. Wow. Okay, thanks. Anyway, so the place had history. and it's totally changed. Now that's only because Lord Chaitanya is present. Otherwise, in Mayapur we used to say like that. I served in Mayapur for almost 6 years, and then we would say, and I was part of the management of Mayapur, and in the management we would say, we don't know how this place is going on, you know. I mean, it was definitely not because of us, right? It was definitely not because we were managing it so well. I mean, we were not managing it, and somehow or other, it was still going on. And nothing has changed. Okay, what can I say? It's Hare, Hare. Yeah. So definitely that element of attracting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is a factor that is very predominant now, like it never was. You might think, well, on the basis of what authorized statement am I making such assumptions? Nice. Are these your realizations, or have you read something to this effect? Well, I have read something. There you go. The Caitanya-caritamrita from Prabodhananda Saraswati. Prabodhananda Saraswati was a sannyasi who lived in Sri Rangam, who was there when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Sri Rangam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met with Venkatabhatta, and his son was Gopal, who later became Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Prabodhananda Saraswati was his uncle. Now that book of Caitanya-caritamrita is super interesting, and I happen to have it in my phone, and it doesn't take a lot of work to call it up. Let's do that. Chant-Rita. Riya. Spelling mistake in your library. There it is. Let's try the first one now. Yep. That's the one. Okay, I hold it a little bit like this because it's very small. I'll read a few verses because it's a very short work. The first chapter is called Stuti Mukhe Vastu Niresa Rupa Mangala Charanam. In the beginning, an invocation of auspiciousness and a description of the contents of these prayers. 1. Let us glorify the boundlessly merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Prince of Raja, to taste the intoxicating sweet waves of the nectar of transcendental love for Krishna, as well as to give that nectar to others. He has now appeared in the transcendental abode of Navadvip as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who is untouched by any piety, who is completely absorbed in irreligion, or who's never received the merciful glance of the devotees, or been to any holy place sanctified by them. So that's a lot. I think that wouldn't even apply to us, right? We have been to such places. Untouched by any piety. Have we ever done anything pious? Maybe. Who's completely absorbed in irreligion. We can't even claim that. Or who has never received the merciful glance of the devotees. Can't claim that either. Or been to any holy place. Most of us have been to some place. Or has been to any holy place sanctified by them, by the devotees. Even they will still ecstatically dance, loudly sing, and even roll about on the ground when they become intoxicated by tasting the nectar of the transcendental mellows of pure love of God given by Lord Chaitanya. Let me therefore glorify that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in other words, anybody is eligible now. Anybody is eligible for that mercy. See, here Prabodhananda is extremely optimistic Even those who really have nothing, no attributes, they still get it. Whether seen, touched, glorified, remembered, bowed down to from afar, or worshipped, Sri Chaitanya gives the nectar of pure love of Krishna to his devotees. Let me glorify Sri Chaitanya, the merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those who have attained the merciful sidelong glance of Lord Gora, impersonal liberation becomes as palatable as going to hell. The heavenly cities of the demigods become as real as flowers imagined to float in the sky. The poisonous fangs of the untamable black snakes of the senses become broken. The whole world becomes full of joy, and Brahma, Indra, and all the great demigods become like tiny insects. Let us glorify that Lord Gora. When Lord Gaurachandra's devotees, who are worshipped even by the demigods, drink the wonderfully sweet nectar of the bliss of pure love of God that flows from the lotus flower of Lord Gaurachandra's feet, they become completely intoxicated. His feet are lotus flower, not lotus feet, but lotus flowers this time. In that condition they laugh at Lord Brahma and other great demigods. Condemn the impersonalist yogis and do not consider the great devotees of Lord Vishnu who do not worship Lord Gaurachandra to be very important. Let us glorify that Lord Gaurachandra. What benefit did the world attain when Lord Rama, Lord Nrsimha, and many other incarnations of Godhead killed so many Rakshasas and Daitya demons? How important is it that Kapila and other incarnations revealed the path of Sankhya and Yoga? How glorious is it? So, take this card. Stupid. Excuse me. It's too powerful. I tried. What benefit did the world attain when Lord Ram, Lord Nrsimha, and many other incarnations of Godhead killed so many Rakshasas and Daitya demons? How important is it that Lord Kapila and other incarnations revealed the path of Sankhya and Yoga? How glorious is it that Lord Brahma and other guna avatars create, maintain, and destroy the material universe? How auspicious is it that Lord Varaha lifted the earth from the Garbadak ocean? We do not consider any of these activities to be very important. So now here there's a whole list of incarnations. Lord Nrsimha, Lord Ram, Lord Kapila, Lord Brahma, Lord Varaha, and all their activities are not important. The most important thing is that Lord Chaitanya has revealed the great splendor of pure love of Krishna. Let us glorify that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's the first chapter. You see, it's like a very strong faith in Lord Chaitanya. And the whole book just goes on like that, describing really how everything has changed. When it's speaking about the world becoming inundated by love of God, then this Caitanya-caritamrita is speaking in the present tense. It's not like it's going to happen in the future. It's just describing it's already happened. Okay? It's already, so he has that vision. It's already happened. No? Let me offer my respectful obeisance to Lord Chaitanya-chandra, whose face is splendid as millions of moons, and whose smile is as charming as moonlight. He's like a moon that has just risen from the ocean of the bliss of pure love for Lord Krishna. So the moon lights up the darkness of night. So the darkness of night is referring to the darkness of ignorance, when there's no more good qualities. It is Kali Yuga, that is the night. Sometimes it is said that a jewel looks very nice on a black background. So Lord Chaitanya appears in this dark age, this age where all good quality is lost. And I read something about how terrorists came about and how they saw that in society there was so much corruption. People had become so corrupted that only shock could bring them out. And then it said, but then the terrorists, they realized that not only were the people corrupted, they realized that they were corrupted themselves as well. So we see the same in Protestant religion. There's Luther. And Luther is interesting because Luther saw corruption in the church. Luther tried to rectify it by, exposing it and posting his various points on the door of the church. And but Luther himself, he was an ordained monk, celibate ordained monk, who then at one point gave it up. He gave it up and he married a nun. So, translated in Hare Krishna language, Swami sort of, it's one of those stories, right? Swami gave it up, married a nun, and married one of the brahmacharinis, and that's basically how you translate it into. So that's interesting. And so what was Luther's philosophy? Luther's philosophy was there was corruption in the church. But then Luther realized that corruption was within him also, since he fell down. And then he came up with the philosophy of grace. And we depend on grace. We can see how that's not so far away from Krishna consciousness. We are also in this age depending on grace. And as he was believing in the grace of the New Testament, the Old Testament, the New Testament. The Old Testament was all about following rules, following standards. The New Testament is all about mercy. So we also have an Old Testament and a New Testament in a sense. The New Testament being Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and now coming with the message of mercy. And how suddenly, within this darkness of the age of Kali, there is Lord Chaitanya, the moon, moving his hands and feet, raising the two golden rods of his arms, trembling as he dances and loudly calling out, Hare, Hare, in ecstatic bliss, Lord Chaitanya-chandra, vanquish the inauspiciousness of this world. To that Lord Chaitanya-chandra, whose eyes are like large lotus flowers, who is immersed in tasting the sweet nectar of pure love of Krishna, and who is the crest jewel of all incarnations, I offer my respectful obeisances. To Lord Hare, his eyes now, like millions of rain clouds, shedding torrents of tears, the opulences of pure love of Krishna, making him laugh at millions of Vaikuntha worlds. His charming handsome, like millions of nectar oceans, and his role now that of a sannyasi, I offer my respectful obeisances. Millions of tears flowing from his eyes, and like from millions of clouds, and he's laughing at millions of Vaikuntha worlds. Who cares about Vaikuntha? Who cares? He who is totally absorbed in that nectar of Sankirtan, who still cares about Vaikuntha? In this way, he laughs at Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is speaking, not even heavenly planets or a nice situation in this world. All that is meaningless, meaningless. What's the point of all that? Vaikuntha, what's the point of it? What's the point of it? When there's only 2.5 rasas, Santaras, Dasiras, and Gauravasaka, friendship mixed with awe and reverence, how could one ever be satisfied in such a situation? No, we don't even take that seriously. We laugh at that. So in this way, we are seeing. Yeah, gardens come closer that way. It's a powerful garden. No,
I need to sit up anyway.
you can wear it. Sit down, relax. No need to run. A little sneezing clears the head. May Lord Chaitanya, whose shoulders are like a lion's, whose smiling cheeks are the sweetness of all sweet things, whose body displays various wonderful symptoms of ecstatic love, whose features are as splendid as the world of a blossoming golden lotus flower, and who is Sri Radha and Krishna, joined in a single form, protect you all. When he saw new rain clouds, he was reminded of Lord Krishna, and he became like a madman with love for him. When he saw a peacock feather, he became agitated, and when he saw a ganja bracelet, he trembled. When he saw a dark-complexioned boy, he thought he had just seen Lord Krishna, and he became filled with fear and wonder. In this way, golden Lord Hare preached the glories of pure devotional love for himself. So attracting Lord Chaitanya, that is my theme. And I'm reading these verses in that light. So attracting Lord Chaitanya, which will change everything, which will change our state of mind, our state of consciousness, our heart, just his merciful glance. It's not only a matter of chanting, dancing, but it's also a matter of absorbing ourselves in hearing about Lord Chaitanya. Somehow or other, the more we get absorbed in remembrance of the Lord, the more the Lord is attracted by us. Interesting. How is that? Here is the Supreme Lord. He likes to be glorified and he likes to be remembered. I mean, how does that work? I mean, how can we look at him? Is he a bit self-indulgent maybe? Like if everyone goes, Kadamba Kanana Swami, and then I'll go like, what was that? Huh? I mean, could you say that again, please? Kadamba Kanana Swami. Yeah. Swami, Swami, how I love you, how I love you. Some more. Please, carry on, carry on. Would you maybe like to share some of my glories? Kadamba Kanana Swami went all over the world. More, please, more. Don't forget, that time I went to the moon. And so I enjoy hearing my own glories and some sort of self-indulgence. And, it's really, yes, it's nice. I come to someone's house and I see my picture on the altar. Yes, I do sometimes. And my mind goes like, oh, that's so is Krishna like that? Then how does it work that Krishna enjoys? That Krishna enjoys that we're chanting his name, that he enjoys that we're glorifying his pastimes. How does it work? It is simply that Krishna is seeing that it is amazing. It is amazing. I have these amazing qualities, Krishna says to himself. He himself is amazed by his own qualities. It is said that in Dwarka, the floor is shining, like anything. So much so, it's an onyx floor, that it acts like a mirror. And when Krishna sees his own image in the onyx floor, he is attracted. He's looking at like, wow. Wow. Not because he's proud or not because he's narcissistic and totally self-indulgent. No, he likes to share it also. He likes to share it. He just happens to have wonderful qualities. That's just how it is. I mean, In our case, if we walk around like and saying, how wonderful am I, how great am I, everyone goes like, someone will pull a mirror out of the pocket and say, have a look, have a good look at yourself. But no, but it is because that's the reality. We don't have all the good qualities. We don't. It's just, when they were handing them out, maybe we got some, but we missed out on many, unfortunately, and that's the situation. But Krishna happens to have them all. So what can he do? He just happens to have them. He himself looks at it like, wow, that's amazing. That's an amazing quality, and then he has more. So Krishna knows that only there we can find happiness. When I look out, I have a beautiful view, a green background, a reddish tree in the foreground, purple bushes in the back. It's beautiful. But unless we see that beauty as Krishna's beauty, it's all meaningless. So when Krishna sees that we are turning to happiness, he becomes attracted, because he's attracted by happiness. There is the ocean of transcendental love. That ocean, it's called the Caitanya-caritamrita. It is said the 6 Goswamis are always absorbed in that Caitanya-caritamrita, in that ocean of transcendental love. And that is that ocean of transcendental love. Let's think about how it works. It's about Krishna and his devotees, and how it is said Srimati Radharani, she has unlimited love for Krishna, but then she finds that Krishna has unlimited qualities. So she finds always new qualities of Krishna, and as soon as she finds one, she loves that also. So in this way her love is always increasing. And if that is Caitanya-caritamrita Adi Lila 4. And when we think about that, that's not only the case of Krishna, that's also our situation. We didn't know anything about Krishna, then we find out about Krishna, and then we said, well, that's nice. It's kind of nice that he wears a peacock feather. And that's nice. Peacock feathers are beautiful. It's nice that he has one. Sort of, yeah, I like that peacock feather. And then there's a story, how he played his flute and made the peacocks dance, and then in exchange for that, they offered him the feather. Oh, that is also nice. Okay? So the more we explore the qualities of Krishna, the more there are really nice things. Krishna speaks all the languages fluently. That's nice. Even trying. Yeah. He does. Yeah. He speaks all of them, all the lingos, no worries. Yeah. Krishna can rock up, and say, hey, go. He can. Perfect accent, perfect, the whole thing. Yeah, sure, he can do it. But that makes it also, that also means that Krishna is ready to deal with everyone, one-on-one. He's very personal, he's right there. Then I hear that when Krishna plays with his cowherd boy friends in the forest, that they all imitate the sounds of the animals. And Krishna does it also, but he speaks the languages, so Krishna's not imitating, he is actually speaking it. So in that way we can understand that Krishna is secretly communicating with the animals. And all the cowherd boys are thinking he's just imitating sounds, but meanwhile he's telling things to the animals. And all the animals are also ecstatic. So I find those things nice. So the more I hear about these things, the more I appreciate. So the devotees, are discovering more and more qualities of Krishna. But at the same time, there is also some dynamics of reciprocation. There is this thing where Krishna is looking at Radharani, and Radharani is noticing that Krishna is looking, and it makes her smile. But she's trying to hide that smile because no one is supposed to see. But it slightly shows at the corner of her mouth. As a result, Krishna is smiling because he sees that she has noticed he's looking, so slightly Krishna smiles also. Then she sees that Krishna noticed that she was smiling and therefore he was smiling, so her smile increases. Then Krishna noticed that she noticed that he was smiling and therefore she increased her smiling, and so Krishna's smiling increased also, and in the end they're all smiles, right? It's basically all smiles. So this shows something about the loving reciprocation. So it's not that here we are, we're all loving Krishna. No, Krishna loves his devotees. And that is the ocean of loving exchange. And it's increasing on all sides, in all directions it's increasing. The devotees' love for Krishna is increasing in exchange. As the devotee just discovers another quality of Krishna and starts to love that quality, Krishna loves that devotee also a bit more. And then the devotees love each other as well. They all see, like, look, this one is just overflowing with ecstasy and love for Krishna. And in this way, the ocean of transcendental love called the spiritual world exists in a state of ever-increasing love. And that's how we should see the spiritual world. Eternally increasing love. Eternally increasing happiness, eternally increasing ecstasy. So that comes in this movement. And that's what this movement is about. It's simply about, let's glorify Krishna. Let's glorify Krishna. And somehow or other get into that, hear about him, chant, whatever it takes. And in this way, we become ecstatic, and our love for Krishna awakens. We can't say that we don't have any love for Krishna because you don't like Krishna's peacock feather. You don't like it when he wears a peacock feather. Anybody here who doesn't like Krishna's peacock feather? You're afraid to say it in the temple. Yeah? Anyway, so the point is, there are so many things that we actually love about Krishna. And these things that we love about Krishna are increasing. And in this way, our love for Krishna is automatically increasing. And then that attracts Krishna, and particularly attracts Lord Chaitanya, who is the predominating deity in this age. Mother Sachi had deities of Krishna and Balaram. And one night, she is dreaming about Krishna and Balaram, and she made an offering to Krishna and Balaram. And then her son, Nimai, and Nitai, they appeared. And they started fighting. They started fighting with the deities. And they said, get out of here. Get out of here. This is our yuga. That offering is ours. Out. That's our offering. That's not for you. Out. And Mother Sachi woke up and couldn't understand why her son was fighting with Krishna and Balaram, with the deities. How can you fight with the deities? But later that day, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda actually took prasadam in the house of Sachi. And then she remembered her dream. And suddenly she realized they are non-different from Krishna and Balaram, and she fainted. But now it is their yuga. They're taking all the offerings. And they are reciprocating. And they are very merciful when they reciprocate. And they become attracted by chanting the holy name. They become simply attracted. So this is our main thing. We are chanting, we are glorifying Krishna, we're discussing all this to attract Lord Chaitanya. And when we can attract Lord Chaitanya, then we get wings. And then, get magic. For Krishna Pandit, dance for 72 hours, non-stop. Then so many things can happen. Then devotees can eat 87 gulab jamuns. I don't know what the record was in Australia.
43.
Nah, I've seen you.
It's like 120.
That's right. She's talking, not 43. That was, you would drop out midway in the competition.
About 60.
No, I know on her
it's
side.
around 120.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Who was it? It was several Ganesh, I can't remember.
Ganesh, eh?
I think it was Ganesh.
You think it was Ganesh, eh?
These are runs. And they still have.
It was in, it was after we'd all been out in book distribution, so we had a big Sunday thing and all the book distributors got to go into the office and watch. It was something to behold. They were flying them off the ceiling, they'd throw them up and it was
Yeah.
good of it.
Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya was there. And he still remembers that, but he knows the right number, you know. You may or may not know.
Apparently, Mother Risa said that if you rock, he was an expert of how to have as much prasada in as possible. So if you rock back and forth while you eat, you can get more in. So everyone was rocking back and forth.
Now,
That's a yoga thing, apparently.
it's definitely that the Australians were the world champions at that time. I just want you to know that.
The last one was in New Zealand. Maitreya, I don't know how many age, but he's 1987, the retired champion, and Govardhan eating competitions were banned up.
I see.
Not really in the mood of
Yeah.
something trying to
Yeah.
achieve.
Yeah. No, but it was part of Lord Chaitanya's movement, whether it was banned or not. It was all orchestrated by the Supreme Lord. Absolutely. Yes. All these things were part of his transcendental movement. Prabhupada had a pot with gulab jamuns in matchless gift, always in the temple, and it was always full. And I'm convinced that this is the one thing that's missing in ISKCON today.
Sometimes we have some Garuda.
No, there should be a pot right in the temple. And it should be always full. And anybody should be able to take as much as they like. Who votes for that? I see. Anyway, so that's this movement. So my theme is attracting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and then everything will change. And I've tried to illustrate that a bit and discuss that a bit of how it works. And now I'd like to hear from you for a couple of minutes before we start Dhammadarastika. Yes.
Don't have a microphone, do we? So, Maharaj, we always talk about the nectar, trying to get the nectar, like it's always, you want to get the nectar. You've always heard the description of someone who's really tasted the nectar, just like you were saying in the Caitanya-caritamrita, it's like Hare Krishna. So, this is on 91, it's broadcast around the community. So we're talking about tasting the nectar, but in the Caitanya-caritamrita it says that the symptoms of tasting the nectar are like rolling on the ground, uncontrollably, hair standing on end, laughing, tears coming up the eyes. So there's two things that would happen if we actually just taste even one little, like, tiny drop of nectar that we sort of manifest these symptoms. A jinn would kick us out of the temple. And secondly, we will probably get taken to some institution where they put us in a padded cell. So it's a bit like going up and then getting the cliff face and falling off the cliff, Maharaj. So where do we sort of go before we die off the cliff? Is it Lord Chaitanya's mercy that we don't actually achieve that platform of attaining the nectar?
Even the lizards get ecstatic as you describe it. The nectar, the nectar, the nectar, the nectar. I don't know if we're going for the nectar or if we're seeing that Lord Chaitanya and his associates are getting the nectar. That they are full of that nectar, are rolling on the ground. We are going for the mercy. I personally don't go for the nectar. I go for the mercy. My meditation is not nectar, 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 nectar. My meditation is mercy, 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 mercy. Where is it? Where do I get the mercy? That's where I go. I'm always looking for mercy. And that's what drives me, because the mercy will take us to the nectar, that's for sure. When you attract the mercy. So I'm looking how to attract the mercy more than. And then the nectar will be there somewhere on the way. There is nectar. There is. Absolutely. But I'm looking for the mercy. I think that's the spirit. When we look too much for the nectar, looking everywhere, then, where's the nectar? It reminds me of Hansel and Gretel looking for the gingerbread. And who has the gingerbread, Hansel or Gretel? None of them has it.
There's a little bit of a trick question, Maharaj, because I just wanted to see, because you were saying, well, there is the nectar, so obviously you're a great soul. In a position like yours, I just say great soul, in a position like yours, will it sort of taste of some nectar along this illustrious path there?
Of course, I'm flattered, that you're calling me a great soul, and part of me enjoys that a lot, and I would like to say, well, you're right about that. But I'm not going to, you told me it's a trick question, you warned me before, so thanks for the warning. So I'm not going to fall in that trap. I'm just an insignificant ant, if that at all, and just looking for the mercy. But wherever there's some crumbs, I'm going for it. And, we ants, right? We don't have many good qualities, but at least we have one quality. We're ready to work for it. Yeah, we're working, ready to work for it. So I'm ready to work for the mercy. Yeah, that's about it. I'm bragging like that while I'm pretty lazy, actually. What to do?
Like we don't set our standard, but our standard applies in this.
You don't know. Other comments, questions? Yeah? Okay, just... Okay, yeah. There's a mic. You get the mic. Oh. Understood. Hold your hand. Yeah.
Hey Krishna Maharaj, I was just wondering about how Lord Chaitanya's presence is manifested.
Prefaced?
Presence, is manifested, how we can see it most clearly. I know through chanting, but...
Yeah. Well, it already started, we see Lord Chaitanya's presence, first of all, through the fact that we're here. It doesn't make sense that we're here. We shouldn't have been here. I know where I should have been, and that's not here. So that's the first thing. The amazing mercy that has brought about such a transformation in our lives. That's quality of life we never had, we could have never imagined. And Prabhupada came and as a very much a messenger of Lord Chaitanya, carrying that mercy of Lord Chaitanya further to bring it to us, and that's how we got it. So in this way we see it in Prabhupada's movement, we see it in Prabhupada's books, we see it in all these things, and that mercy is such a gift which we already got. And all we have to do is like just take advantage of that. And it came in the middle of our karma, you know, and everybody has, in this age, everybody has bad karma. Besides having a little bit of good karma, everyone has lots of bad karma. That's basically what goes with the birth in Kali Yuga. It's for those living beings who get a human form of life in this age. They have a lot of bad karma. So everyone has to face it. And that's what you encounter, that we all struggle with our karma sooner or later. But in the midst of that, there is this mercy, and it just stays. And it grows. And it's whatever service we do, it just builds up. And over the years, it just, it's really powerful. Right? It is like, you don't have to do, I can ask my seniors, you don't have to do so much in this movement. You know, just by being around, something amazing is going to happen. And just that alone has amazing results. I think if someone spends 40, 50 years in this movement, then, you know, then things look a lot different after that. You don't even have to excel. Just be a normal devotee, somehow or other. We hang in there, we hold on, you know, and to that mercy, which we see everywhere. And wherever it is, we find it out. Like I was saying, years ago I went to Bangkok, and it was tough because Bangkok, such a place. I went there and I was married at the time, and I came with my wife, and there was no temple. And when I came on the airport, one man approaches us and says, "You want go, go, go?" And I'm looking at him like, you know, what is this? And I'm saying, "I'm with my wife." He said, "You want go, go, boy?" You know, and I go like, oh, you know, please, right? Go to the hotel, and at a late night, some lady comes and asks if I want room service. It's like, I don't want any room service. It's like, but they had given us the address of one devotee. So we went there, some Indian name, and we went there and to the address, and it was a shop. So there's an Indian man behind the counter, and I said to him, I said, Hare Krishna. And he says, wait. You know, so okay, I waited. And then he went behind the counter, or to one side, and he pulled one string and pushed a button, and the Govardhan tape were playing, and there were deities above the counter. There's a shelf, and he had like deities there. And we stood in a shop, Govardhan, and it was really nice. There was a devotee in that crazy world, you know. There was a devotee. So, like this, the mercy is there. It's just amazing when we find it and when we go look for it. I went looking for it in Bangkok, and I was really happy I did that. I was really happy I did that. So, I always look for the mercy. Yeah. Time to move on. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai.